All right, everybody. Welcome to the Contextual Christian Church Bible Study, where today we're going to read Amos chapter 2, verses 1 to 16. I'm going to pray it in. Everybody bow your heads. Father, thank you for giving us this day to be together on this Bible study. Now that we're getting into another chapter of Amos, we're getting in great details we've talked about before, but also new details. God, I pray that we continue to get more new details, more new discoveries, more answers being answered of questions we may have forgot about, because these are some interesting Bible studies we're getting into. Let's go ahead and let's get started in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. So again, as I was gonna say, as I just said before we did the introduction, I'm gonna put these two back on the screen every day while we're going through Amos to keep in mind the time frame. The first one, Second Chronicles chapter 26, verse 8 to 12. And this goes to show, and I'll probably from now on just go to the second one, only because this is just to get the point. We had where Uzziah at this time frame had been doing so well and got so puffed up that he thought that he could do the censers. He thought he could do the incense and everything in the temple, which was not his job and not what he was allowed to do. It didn't pertain to him. And then we saw in the second reference point in verses 16 to 19 about how he was trying to do that. And after being so puffed up. And again, we brought this up to bring out the fact that if they're as corrupt as this is, as the king, thinking that he can do the work of the priest when he's just the king, how much more the people in society? And what we actually got into last time was a listing, really. It was pretty much the same thing. We were going through a listing of all the areas that surround the children of Israel that have been doing wrong by the children of Israel, and how prophesying that in the future, everything of theirs is going to be torn down and screwed up. That some of them are going to go into captivity, some of them were going to just lose it, period. And even with the people of the children of Edom and how they were getting all this help and everything from everybody, uh, when they were trying to come against the children of Israel themselves too. We even had some that were of a brotherly lineage to the children of Israel that were getting called out for the fact that they weren't acting like they were brotherly. They weren't acting like they were family. And that's pretty much all that we got into last time, was just a repetition of going through the different groups that were doing wrong by God and wrong by Israel, and the punishment that was coming along with it. So I'll go ahead and switch it to our first section for today so our first reader can read. And go ahead, Charles, when you're ready.
All right, I'll read Amos chapter 2, verses 1 to 5. Give it a couple seconds. Verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Moab, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he burnt the bones of the king of Edom into lime. But I will send a fire upon Moab, and it shall devour the palaces of Kerioth, and Moab shall die with tumult, or tum is that tumult or tumult?
Tumult.
Tumult.
That's like the
Tum
root word for
tumult.
tumultuous, where things are going
Tumult.
bad.
Tumult. Okay. With shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. And I will cut off the judge from the midst thereof, and will slay all the princes thereof with him, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Judah, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have despised the law of the Lord, and have not kept his commandments, and their lies caused them to err, after the which their fathers have walked. But I will send a fire upon Judah, and it shall devour the palaces of Jerusalem. So, verses 1 through 3, God is talking about bringing the punishment for Moab with the reason they burnt the bones of the king of Edom into lime. So you burnt the king's bones into just ashes. There's nothing left. Particles is left. So now God's coming for Moab. But we've read this before, how God was going to come for Moab and how God was going to destroy Moab and the things of Moab and the people of Moab, and we brought it up in other sections, how specific he was going to come against Moab. But
And the word
versus
there, lime, is not ashes, it's in the plaster, but same thing. Concept is it's going to be like destroyed. Figure like
plaster,
it's like think about how when something gets so burnt in, it becomes like almost waxy. Certain things that if you burn them too much.
do bones do that? I thought bones just burn down to to ashes and then to just
Now it
yeah,
depends on how far you burn them because it if you're boiling them down, like it can be used as plaster, like or like slack or slacker, so it can be used for that. So, but it's not being literal, I would say here. It might be. I mean, it's possible, but I think it's just proving the point, saying that like you destroyed the king, you destroyed the kingdom. I don't think it's literally saying that he burned them down into lime, as much as saying that they burned them down to utter destruction, like you were pointing them out.
figuratively.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we've got into this Moab one before. Same with Judah. This is interesting that he's bring. It is interesting. Yeah, this is interesting. We've already talked about a numerous amount of times God coming against Judah because Judah. We've read about a multitude of things that Judah did going against God's law, transgression, the sins, the wickedness. Right here, he's talking about how they didn't keep His commandments, and their lies caused them to err, which let me go back to the error definition. Oh, so the error would just be to their lies caused them to stray away from his law, straight to go away from his commandments, his rules, and all of that,
Yeah,
and him bringing a fire
to do wrong, in other words, if we were to say
to
it
do.
today.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my section. Is just God coming against Moab and the fire and all of that. Well, not the fire, but just coming against them and how it was going to be pandemonium for Moab, which we've read before. Same with Judah and how we've read that before. So these are interesting. Bringing back up Judah after we didn't. How many prophets now have talked about the destruction of Judah?
Exactly. And to top it off, I mean, consider the time frame. This is talking about the children of Israel when you really consider the time frame. Moab's not. They're related. They're not part of it.
Right.
So when we look at it, we got the first one on 4. Now we're including the children of Israel. So we really could summarize chapter 2 at this point, the first 4 or 5 verses, that just continuing what was happening in chapter 1, listing out everybody that's doing wrong and listing out the punishments that's going to be coming for them. That could summarize the whole thing. Good. Now, does anybody have any comments or questions about the first section as we go to the second section? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right, then I will be reading the second section in Amos chapter 2, verse 6 to 10. Amos chapter 2, verse 6 to 10. In verse 6, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Israel, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they sold the righteous for silver, and the poor for a pair of shoes, that pant after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor, and turn aside the way of the meek, and the man and his father will go in unto the same maid to profane my holy name. And they lay themselves down upon clothes laid to pledge by every altar. And they drink the wine of the condemned in the house of their God. Yet destroyed I the Amorite before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars, and he was strong as the oaks. Yet I destroyed his fruit from above, and his roots from beneath. Also I brought you up from the land of Egypt, and led you 40 years through the wilderness to possess the land of the Amorite. All right, so mine, we're getting the same thing again, listing everybody who's doing wrong and all the punishments that are going to come through. But we have a little difference here. We have more details on the punishment, I mean, on the reasons for the punishment with the children of Israel. They sold the righteous for silver. They're selling out their people, whether it means literal, as in slavery, selling your brethren for money, or metaphorical, selling them out as in not doing what's right and maybe even taking bribes, and then selling out in the poor for a pair of shoes. So you get a pair of shoes and you're going to sell out the poor. And then pointing out how, like, and that pant after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor. So you're just patting it on. And then this other part, which is crazy. And his father, a man and his father will go into the same maid. You guys get what that means, right, Charles and Thomas?
Will go unto the same maid. Doesn't that sounds like what's the how do I say it Bible study friendly? I almost went and did it doing Bible study friendly. You know where I'm going with this, Matt. What's a child friendly word
Yeah.
for it? Intimate.
Getting intimate with the
Intimate.
same woman.
Mm-hmm.
So the dad and the son are both getting intimate with the same woman, which is disgusting. Think about that. Even if it's your stepmom, you're getting intimate with the same woman that your dad got intimate with. The fact this even has to be said. And then, as I pointed out also, that they laid themselves down upon clothes laid to pledge by every altar. So they're just laying themselves down at every altar. They have no faithfulness. And they're drinking the wine of the condemned. They're drinking the wine of those that are meant for those that are already that are condemned. They're not going to be able to do any better. And they're doing it in the house of God. And pointing out in 9, then it switches up in 9. And what does the switch up do in 9 versus what was going before it? Thomas?
Talking about the Amorites now. Let me read the rest of it. His height was like the height of the cedars, and he was
He's not
strong as.
talking about the Amorites.
Can I finish reading real quick?
Yeah, but for the first part, you say he's talking about the Amorites now. He's not. So just keep that in mind as you go to get your answer.
Okay, thank you. Remember, start
Mm-hmm.
from 9 from the top. He had destroyed I the Amorites before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars, and he was strong as the oaks. Yet I destroyed his fruit from above, and his roots from beneath. So instead of a whole, he's talking about it in singular. So it sounds like here.
Huh?
Because initially, when he's speaking on
No, I didn't hear
all.
what you said. Repeat what you said.
So instead of speaking as like plural, he's speaking singular.
No, that's not it.
Okay.
All right, Charles.
Ask the question one more time.
What is the switch up doing in 9 rather than in 6 to 8? Because 6 to 8, we are continuing the same trend as before from
Right.
chapter 1 and all. But 9 it switches up. What does it switch up to the effort it's trying to do now from 9 and 10?
In 9 to 10, it's he's when he brings up what he did with as far as 9 and 10. Okay, yeah, I'm coming against Judah, I'm coming against Israel, but not but what's the way I can re-explain this? I'll just use the word. Yet I still did destroy the Amorites and got you out of the wilderness, saved you from slavery to bring you into this land of the people I've already destroyed. As in, what's a better way to explain this?
Nope.
As shown, I'm trying to figure out a better way to like re-explain this.
All right, then I'll go ahead and explain it. He's not talking about the Amorites. What he's doing is using the Amorites to describe how just because you're my people does not mean you get special treatment. The Amorites were so much higher, so much stronger, yet I destroyed them and led you out of Egypt so you could possess their land. So he's bringing up the Amorites to use as a tool for comparison. He's not actually talking about the Amorites, he's using them to talk about the children of Israel. The Amorites were so much more massive, so much bigger, they were so much better. And yet, you who are weaker, I led you to possess their land. I had them torn down. That's why I say it's not talking about the Amorites, Thomas. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All
Comparison.
right, exactly. They're not the main focal point of the subject. They're a tool to express a point. So, what is the point that he is trying to express then, Charles? Don't forget to unmute. There you go.
Yeah. I'm unmuted. Let me put it. Let me think about how to put it into words. Come back to me.
All right, Thomas, what's the point he's trying to express by saying this in 9 and 10?
You ain't special just because you're my people.
Good. Exactly. You ain't special just because you're my people. I tore them down and brought you in. What do you think that means I could do to you? This is almost a statement of a threat. It's an underlining threat, I would call it actually. It actually is that. But it's not a threat to provoke fear, it's a threat to provoke change. And that's the difference. But it is still technically a threat. Good. Now then, does anybody have any comments or questions about the second section as we go to the final one for today? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right, then go ahead, Charles, and finish this out.
All right, I'll be reading Amos chapter 2, verses 11 to 16. Give it a couple seconds. Verse 11. And I raised up of your sons for prophets, and of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus, O ye children of Israel? Saith the Lord. But ye gave the Nazarites wine to drink, and commanded the prophets, saying, Prophesy not. Behold, I am pressed under you as a cart is pressed that is full of sheaves. Therefore the flight shall perish from the swift, and the strong shall not strengthen his force, neither shall the mighty deliver himself. Neither shall he stand that handleth the bow, and he that is swift of foot shall not deliver himself. Neither shall he that rideth the horse deliver himself. And he that is courageous among the mighty shall flee away naked in the day, saith the Lord. That's okay. So starting off with mine, let me because this I gotta bring up separate from the main. I could summarize the rest of that, but and I raised up of your sons for prophets, of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus? Matt, I'm gonna need help with the is it not even thus? That part. That
Uh,
completely is throwing me off from
thus
everything.
could also be stated as this way. Isn't this how it was? Like if you're trying to tell somebody, don't you think that's how it was? Do you think it went differently than what I'm saying? In our day and age, parents would say a similar point they're trying to make, except they would actually be doing it, so they were wrong. But where they said, "You trying to call me a liar? I told you that
Oh,
this is how it was, and this is how it was."
and because it was I got the rhetorical part of it, but I was trying to understand that. So
Yeah,
he's saying that rhetorically
yeah,
with verse 11.
yeah. So he's
Okay.
saying like, "I raised up your sons for prophets, and your young men for Nazarites." Did I get anything wrong in what I just said? Was anything I just told you not correct? That's basically what he's saying.
Oh.
This is an irritated rhetorical question. It's a Thomas, this is a perfect example I was saying. This is a question to prove a point, not a genuinely asking question. You see what I'm saying, Thomas?
Yes,
This
sir.
is a good example of that. God is not asking this question genuinely. He is asking this question to prove a point. He's not really trying to find out the answer. He's just proving his point through the use of a question. Does that make sense, Charles?
Yeah, that makes sense now.
All right.
And the next thing I got to get into was this is interesting. But you gave Nazarites wine to drink and commanded the prophets, saying, "Prophesy not." Nazarites were the ones that took the pledge to not cut their hair, not drink the of the grape, any juice of the grape. You had a very specific pledge with God, different from because everybody else can drink wine. Well, not everybody else, but Israelites can drink wine. They can do this. They can
The
do that.
average Israelite were allowed to, yeah.
Yeah. But the Nazarites wasn't allowed to drink the wine. They wasn't allowed to cut their hair. There were certain specific things that they were doing different from the other Israelites. They had a very specific pledge with God. They all still
Exactly.
were supposed to follow God, but they had specific other specific requirements. But the prophets, it brought up that you also commanded the prophets, telling them not to prophesy. Well, we've read that in other chapters. The Nazarite drinking wine thing. I don't remember us reading that, but we did read where they were coming against the prophets of God, the true prophets of God. Well, the Israelites coming against the true prophets
Well,
of
does
God.
that have to be
We have
literal?
examples there.
Or is he
Does
trying to
no, it does
again, is he trying to
no,
prove a
no,
point?
he's trying to prove a point. This could be figuratively just to prove a point.
Yeah, what is the point he's trying to make then?
The point, basically, turning away the people that are supposed to be faithful to me. They're not faithful to me anymore because they're going against the players. They're going against this,
Exactly.
doing what they're not supposed to be doing. When I already told them what's supposed to be doing.
In other words, corrupting the righteous.
Thank you. Yes.
I set up the righteous for you, had it all ready to go, and rather than following in line and doing what you're supposed to, y'all chose to corrupt the righteous. All right, go ahead and continue.
Oh, next he's talking about the rest is talking about when he comes, not when he does, coming against them. The so the mighty can't strengthen themselves to get out of deliver themselves out of a situation. It brought up the swift of the foot can't deliver themselves.
You
Nobody
skipped
can.
13.
Oh, let me go back. Behold, I am pressed under you as a cart is pressed that is full of sheaves. See what the sheaf
Mm-hmm.
is. Grain. A little bunch of grain. I am pressed under you as a cart is pressed that is full of sheaves. Let me make sure I
Mm-hmm.
explain this right, because So when he brings up I am pressed under you, I'm imagining like someone being under a cart full of grain, which would be heavy. So all that weight, that burden is on you. That heavy burden is on you. That's what I'm thinking about. This heavy weight is on you.
That's half of it.
But I have to. Yeah, there's more to it that I gotta like.
Yeah, that is half of it
Uh,
though. What is the impact of that? That's the other half you're missing. If I'm being pressed down, what am I
too much.
able or not able to do?
Wouldn't it be a situation of the burden is too much to carry? Would it be in the situation
No,
of
because
that?
that we're talking about God. This is God speaking. Is any burden too much for God?
It isn't too much for God.
Exactly. So try again.
I'm still thinking of another.
All right, Thomas.
He's using an analogy here to pretty much say, hold on. Let me just read this last part. As a cart is pressed that is full of sheaves. You got me like a rock in a hard place.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, God is basically saying that, like, look, I want to be there for you. I want to do this. I'm setting everything up. But because of you, you're kind of holding me back. You're holding me back from being able to take care of you because you keep trying to push me underneath. You're not letting me be over you. You're trying to put yourself over me. You're pressing me down. You're holding me down, but in a negative way. Does that make sense, Charles?
Yeah, when Thomas brought up the rock in a hard place. Yeah, now I'm starting to get it.
Yeah, because the problem with what you know what the problem with what you said was, right? Because your point was accurate, but the way you said it was wrong. You know what was wrong with what you said, right?
No, because I didn't even have all of it. So
All right, a burden being too much to carry. That is a demonstration of weakness, as if God is not strong enough to handle something. This isn't about his strength. When you brought up burden and carrying a burden, that you brought it into a point of view of strength or weakness.
right.
That's where you slipped up. If you would have said anything along the lines of, you're holding me back from being able to help you, your point it was accurate. But if you would have phrased it like that in some way, shape, or form, then it would have been accurate. But the moment you said the burden and being too much to carry, now we've drifted from a ability to help versus an ability of strength or weakness. You see what I'm saying?
I see now. Yeah, I get it now.
All right. Go ahead and continue.
The last part, 14, 15, 16. Now we're getting into, he's talking about how the swift, light, rapid. So the swift, the mighty, the strong, they can't deliver themselves. They can't save themselves, in other words. Even those that ride on horses, they can't save themselves. The courageous that are around the mighty, they're going to run away naked. If only we all saw the same anime. There's a character in there's an anime called Demon Slayer. There's a I think he's like a gold haired anime character. I just discovered this guy. This guy kind of describes
Oh,
he.
Rengoku.
Foley Thomas was watching it too. That's he reminds me of verses 14, 15, and 16.
Exactly. But that doesn't actually match up with the 16 though. He
And
never
he
fleed
that is
away.
and he that is courageous among the mighty shall flee away naked in the day.
Yeah. And
Could have
Goku
sworn
never
I was.
fled.
Is it a
He
different
fought
anime?
till
I could have
death.
sworn I could have sworn I saw an episode where he got scared and ran.
Oh no, you're talking about Zenitsu.
It's
You're not
all it
talking
is.
about Red Goku.
It's a gold haired kid. I don't remember the name, but he's always afraid. The only time he fights is if he literally passes out and sleeps. When he sleeps, there's this alter ego that fights. But
Yeah,
when he's
but
awake,
that
he's
doesn't work.
running. And
That doesn't work because
mm,
he's not courageous when he's awake.
no, he's not. He runs. He just runs away
Yeah, this
whenever
is
he's awake.
saying, and he that is courageous among the mighty shall flee away naked in that day. This didn't say, and the cowardly. He's a cowardly when he's
Oh
awake.
yeah. He doesn't work in this aspect.
Yeah,
No, yeah,
no.
you're right about that. Yeah, he doesn't work in this aspect. So I'll leave it to before I made that example. Um, I'm gonna leave it at where I was at before I brought up the anime example.
Well, exactly. So, so here's a better example: Goliath, or not Goliath, the other.
His kids
No,
would be a better example, right?
no, because they didn't get a chance to flee away. They were killed, and he was killed. This is a good example of, let's say there's a soldier who is standing up against an army, but he gets so badly beaten that he runs away scared. But he was supposedly the courageous one. He was the one bragging. He was the one who was standing, and he even was willing to fight. But he gets so scared that he has to run away like a dog with his tail tucked between his legs. That's what that's expressing. So for them, for the children of Israel, the ones that are supposedly courageous, and maybe even they are courageous, they're going to be so humiliated in that day, so utterly defeated in all aspects, that they're going to be running away naked, running away in shame. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. And then Thomas, does that make sense?
I had an example myself, if that's okay.
Yeah. You
I
didn't
was
raise your
thinking
hand
like,
though.
well, you asked me.
Don't count. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
I was thinking kind of like a pack of hyenas when they try to attack a single lion. They feel like they got the upper hand. But as soon as the other lion pulls up, they they bolting. They're gone.
Yeah. Just like Lion King, when Simba goes down there, and then his dad comes out later on. When it was just
Exactly.
Simba and Nala, they was all, oh, they thought they had it, but then when Mufasa comes in and and he tacks one of them down, we're sorry, we
Yeah.
didn't mean it. They start freaking out. That's exactly right. They was all brave when it was just the kids. Oh man, exactly. Brave until you get utterly humiliated, then fleeing away. All right. Do you guys have anything else you want to add or say before we pray out the Bible study portion? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right. Then I'll go ahead and pray us out. Everybody bow your heads. Father, thank you for this time that you've given us to be able to read your word, to be able to understand more. And even as we continue down the list of the people that were doing wrong outside of the children of Israel, and then we got even more depth of the type of wrong that the children of Israel themselves were doing, which is just ridiculous and disgusting. But it gives us more of an understanding as to why you were so frustrated, why you were so and why you were so just ready to kill them off, emotionally speaking. Even though you never did, she had so many times that you could have and would have been completely justified. And it just goes to prove that point that you gave them grace even in a time that supposedly grace don't exist, even though we know factually it did. So God, we praise you and we thank you in your son's holy and precious name, Jesus Christ Yeshua. Amen.
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 All right. Now, tonight's Bible listening is, oh, that's funny. We just caught up to ourselves again. Hosea chapter 7 to Amos chapter 9. Hosea chapter 7 to Amos chapter 9. Let me know when y'all got it.
Got it.
All right. And then last night's listening was Daniel chapter 5 to Hosea chapter 6. And we'll have Thomas go first, then Charles, and then I'll finish this out.
Our first is going to be Daniel chapter 6, verses 22 through 23. Read it real quick. My God has sent this angel and has shut the lion's mouth, that they may not hurt me. For as much as before my innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was a king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel's up. Hold on one second. And commanded they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. So here they are trying to throw Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel prays, and God delivers. He shuts the lion's mouth. And he didn't, no harm came upon Daniel throughout the whole entirety of the night. But a little backstory: the person, hold on one second. The king wasn't for Daniel getting hurt, because he knew just how good Daniel was. Sorry, just how good of a God Daniel had. So he's like, look, man, I hope nothing happens to him. He was feeling some type of way throughout the night. And in the morning, Daniel came out unscathed, man. That just shows right then and there how good and true the one and true God is in this instance. He had that unwavering faith in the lion's den all night long. Uh, if you guys got anything to say to that.
Yeah, go ahead, Charles. Do you have anything you want to add on that?
No.
All right. The only thing that I will add to that is the fact that, actually, no. Let me not, because I don't know if you guys are going to bring it up. If you don't bring it up, I'll bring it up afterwards. But there's a part that connects to this. Well, let me ask. Thomas, did you have any other in the same like section but a little prior?
No.
All right, Charles, did you?
No.
Okay. Then I'll bring it up. The whole reason that Daniel was there is because they had made a decree, because Daniel was doing everything right by the king. He wasn't failing in nothing. And they couldn't find any way to be able to exclude him or to get him kicked out or anything. So what they did is they tricked in the king to have the king make a decree. And this is a king that loved Daniel, thought Daniel was amazing. He was like the whole world type thing. And so he made a decree that during a certain weeks or days or whatever, nobody could do any prayer or anything to anything except for Nebuchadnezzar, except for Babylon or Medes, whichever side it was. Could only do that to them, not pray to their own God, not reach out to their own God. And so this was all the deception that took place through that. And even after Daniel got caught praying to God and they were about to put him in the lion's den, even after that time frame, that very same king was like, you know what? I know, like, I hope your God will take care of you. I know this is wrong, but we've already made the law, and the law is absolute. It is what it is. I can't do nothing about it. But they tricked him into getting Daniel caught up because Daniel had everything going good and was just working out. And there were some people that had a problem with Daniel, trying to get him slipped up. That's the whole reason he was in the lion's den to begin with. And even the king at the time said, like, well, I know your God is the real God, and I'm hoping like that even if you're dealing with this, like he'll take care of you. You'll be all right. So that's the only thing I wanted to add on that. All right. Go ahead, Thomas, with the second one.
So I only had one, but I'm gonna go ahead and continue because I know what happens afterwards, anyways. So after that had taken place, those same people who end up having Daniel thrown in the lion's den because he was praising to his God, they end up getting thrown in the lion's den along with their families. And let's say that that phrase, the meat's falling off the bone, the lions did just that to every single one of them. Meat gone. But that just goes to show, man, you don't try to go against God, especially His people. That's what ends up happening every single time. Well, I'm not gonna say every single time, but majority of the time. And that's all I got, guys.
Good. All right. Charles, anything you want to add on that?
No.
All right, that's it. All right, then go ahead, Thomas, with your. I mean, good job, Thomas, with yours. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Charles, with yours. I was combining my two thoughts.
it's all good. It'll always stand out to me. This is the only one I got, and it'll stand out to me always because you told me about it many times before we even did the listening. Hosea chapter 1, verses 2. The
Hmm.
beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord said to Hosea, go, take unto thee a wife of whoredoms and children of whoredoms, for the land hath committed great whoredom, departing from the Lord. It'll always stand out to me. I can't wait till we do the actual Bible studies for Hosea because it's probably just gonna be a funny one because of the lessons that comes from it. And I could have sworn this was because to show Hosea that the children of Israel they've been committing whoredoms in the sense of worshiping other gods, worshiping other ideology. You need to see, you need to feel what that means. You need to see what that means too.
Good. Thomas, anything you want to add on that?
No.
Don't forget to unmute. Okay. All right. Then the only thing that I'll add on that is the fact that when God did that, it goes to prove a very important point. God is not emotionless. Can we kill God? No. Can we harm God? Yeah. We can harm him emotionally. We can't harm him physically. But we can definitely cause pain to God. Because the comparison that he uses there is marrying and loving a woman, giving her anything she needs, being fully invested, taking care of her. And she makes a conscious choice to go back to sleeping around, to selling her body, treating everything you did as if it means nothing. And so it wasn't just for Hosea's sake, this was for our sake as well, to see the emotions of God and the pain that he feels when we go after other gods, when we serve other gods. I mean, and not even just serving other gods. Think about it this way. Imagine you're in love with, and it just makes me think of this. You're in love with the woman and have done right by her in every single way. And she steals from you, knowing dang well you would have given it to her if you would have asked. But rather than asking, she just takes it without permission and says, Well, you love her, so you would want her to have the money anyways. That's what it's like when we consider that aspect of people who don't actually follow God, but say that they follow God. That's really what it's like. God has said that this is how you have to do things if you're going to follow me. And if you love me, you'll keep my commands. You'll do the things that I said. And here people are twisting his words. Like I've brought it up many times. Praying to accept Christ into your heart does not exist in the Bible anywhere. It doesn't. The Bible saying if you believe in God in your heart and confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, you shall be saved. Does that exist in the Bible? Yeah. But that's not the context of what it's saying. It's not being literal. It's using a statement of fact to prove a point. If you did actually believe, if you did actually confess, you would be saved. In other words, calling out to say you don't is what he's really saying. You don't really believe. You didn't really confess because you don't even have the knowledge, let alone the heart for it. So that's really what's going on in Hosea of that. So, anyways, all right. Go ahead, Charles. Did you have anything else, or was it literally just that one?
Just that one.
All right. Then for me, I'll bring up mine. I have two of them in chapter 5, but it's really one. Daniel chapter 5, verse 2 to 5. Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple. So these are vessels that are supposed to be for the praise and worship of God. And they're using them for a party. And then in verse 5, in the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote it. So we just got a floating hand writing this on the wall. Now keep in mind the time frame that matters. But here God is writing a warning or a condemnation of them as they're using vessels they're supposed to be for the worship and praise of him, and they're using it for a party. And not just any party. They literally got concubines, they got princes, they got wives, the king, all this stuff. When it's supposed to be in worship service of God, and using it for something it's not supposed to be. Now, do you guys have anything you want to add or say on that as I go to the verse 24 to 28?
No, sir.
All right. Then in 24 to 28, he gets the interpretation. Then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written. And this is the writing that was written. Mene, men, tekel, Apharsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and art found wanting. Peres, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. So here, after this happening, he gets it's the writing on the wall. And this is where the phrase, the writing on the wall, actually comes from. This is the origin of that phrase. So this is being written on the wall by the hand of God to let them know that God has seen the scales of what you're doing. You may not be the children of Israel, but he has looked at it with some fair scales and found you're lacking. You're not good enough. And so your whole kingdom and everything will be given to the Medes and Persians. This also sticks out to me because when we were reading in Daniel about the bear, we were reading about the representation of the four ultimate kingdoms that were going to be taking place. Even though there was empires that happened in the middle, they weren't the main ones. They were branches off of the same. So the four empires, and after the empire of Babylon, the Medes was the next, and Persian was the next empire that took place. And we literally had them prophesying before it happened in this verse. Now, do you guys have anything you want to add or say on this before I go into the final one? All right. Oh, wait, was that not it? All right. So, Hosea chapter 3, in verse 1 to 5. Then said the Lord unto me, go yet, love a woman, beloved of her friend, yet an adulteress, according to the love of the Lord, toward the children of Israel, who look to other gods, and love flagons of wine. So I bought her to me for 15 pieces of silver, and for an homer of barley, and an half homer of barley. And I said unto her, thou shalt abide for me many days. Thou shalt not play the harlot. Thou shalt not be for another man. So will I also be for thee. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God. And David their king shall fear the Lord with his goodness in the latter days. All right, so we have him again here telling Hosea, not just to love a woman, not just a woman of whoredom, but she's already gone back to it, and you're going to bring her back. So this is like you getting cheated on, you break it off, and then you see her in the street struggling, so you bring her back and say, you can be my woman again, and I'll be faithful to you, and you be faithful to me. And that's our agreement. As if the words mean anything to her. That's the point. He didn't just tell him to marry, he didn't just tell Hosea to marry a woman who was committing adultery or just playing the harlot or a prostitute. She was going to leave him to go back to prostitution, and he had to take her back. The children of Israel were constantly going after other gods, and God would take them back time and time and time and time again. And that's what we're looking at. And that's what he was trying to show them. And not just them, but us as well. All right. Now, do you guys have anything you want to add or say before we close it out? Now would be the time. All right, then I'll go ahead and close this out. Everybody have a good night.